think we all seem to forget that Matt Eberflus was actually a pretty good defensive coach, which was evident that he was, still as bad as we hated his clock management and the fact that he was never accountable, that he just didn't do a lot of things that you would want a head coach to do. He was actually a very good defensive coordinator. This is why nobody should feel bad for Matt Eberflus. I mean, in a way, you should. I mean, it sucks. You dream of being an NFL head coach and it goes awry. But then you also, get this opportunity to let everybody know, it was actually a pretty good defensive coordinator. Look at the Bears defense here on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. And I got to imagine, spending some time watching Hard Knocks over the course of the offseason, thinking about his family, there has to be this thing, if you're the family, you got to go and be like, it wasn't all my fault, whatever. And then you have a game like Sunday, and then you're like, yeah, see, it wasn't all me. Like, Matt, a lot of it was you. But you could call a good defense, and that probably made that a lot more palatable than it should have been over the last couple of years. The only thing is, and I think this is the realization that a lot of Bears fans are going to have today, is like, yeah, maybe firing the coach wasn't going to be the thing that would spur us to a run to the playoffs, a miracle run like Rich Bisaccia with the Raiders or something like that. We've seen it a couple of times where it was the answer, but I think it just goes to show that, this Bears team might have been a little bit more, I don't even think they're that far off, but you know what? There's a lot of things to talk about. So, Sammy, let's just go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Adam Ray.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois, the sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for the post-game edition of the Sick Podcast. Obviously, it's a little bit later than usual. It was a tough weekend. Oh, my God. Tough weekend, not only for the Chicago Bears, but for my Red Lightning. We went to the Section 11 tournament over the weekend, and let's just leave it at that. It was, if you thought the Bears, actually, our girls played very hard. Really proud of the effort that they put out there. Not as proud of the Chicago Bears. And honestly, I was driving home the other night after filming NFL Fantasy Live Friday morning. I was driving home to catch Jeff Bands, and he's talking about he's doing his core four or his thing. And he was like, I don't know why everybody's assuming the Bears are going to win this game. He's like, I think it goes the other way. And when he said that, and I like Jeff a lot, and I think he's one of the best to do it. And I'm like, oh crap, Jeff's right. Like, oh man, I've already filmed all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to end up being really bad. And I still went out there, and obviously we did the sick picks and everything. And I'm always going to take a hopeful view of the Bears and think that perhaps this was the thing. You have a group of players who are obviously frustrated with the head coach, didn't like what it was, staged a mutiny, and then nothing happened. You're like, hey, we took over. It's like one of those things, like you get the substitute teacher to leave your class, or you get your teacher to you give your teacher a mental breakdown, and the substitute teacher, nothing changes. It's probably just as bad, with nothing going on. And this is nothing to take away from Thomas Brown. He is going to get, honestly, this is more than anything, because the Bears were going into a game against the 49ers, a team that was very prideful. They had not been playing well over the last couple of weeks. And I know they're banged up, but listen, everybody's got injuries. There is the running back position for the 49ers. I know they're missing CMC. CMC is high end. He's Pappy Van Winkle. He's high end booze. The rest of the 49ers running back are Kirkland vodka, which again, when you're going to a party and you're serving Kirkland vodka and nobody's the wiser, it is pretty good. So that's still a good team, and it's still a prideful team that had not been playing well over the last couple of weeks. So it does stand to reason that they would be playing a lot better. I also got to say this too. So obviously I was at the Arizona game, and after that, because I had planned to go to San Francisco, and after that game, I'm like, F this, I'm not going. And so then when the coaching change was made, I was really kind of bummed. I'm like, shoot, should have made that, should have gone on that trip. Even thought about it. It was $500 round trip, which flying from Long Beach to San Jose. I'm like, that's still too much money. Nah, I can't do it. I really want to be there though, because if Thomas Brown goes out and wins, I'll have a credential and all this stuff. I'm so glad I didn't go. Like it's rare that I wake up, be like, oh my God, I'm super glad that I did that. It was a great decision. And again, the season's over. The one thing, again, we're going to start looking at some positives. I did like the fact that Tyson Bagent closed out the game. Didn't leave Caleb out there to get some extra work in the final seconds. That was an improvement. That was the entire improvement of the whole thing. Caleb didn't have to play the final 2 minutes because the coach was out there trying to prove a point. And it does lead to some questions about this Bears. How good is this Bears team? How close is everything? I'll bottom line this. This Bears team, talent-wise, they're actually pretty good. And I know everybody's running around on the internet today, and they're like, these guys are bums. They were never very good. And I will tell you this, that the process of picking the Bears to go to the playoffs this year was sound in the fact that a lot of the stuff that I base it on is how good is your quarterback, how good are the players. What I underestimated was how bad Matt Eberflus was. And it's not something that's going to be fixed in one day. It's not going to be something that's fixed immediately by firing him during the middle of the season. And it was foolish of me to once again get caught up into this thing where, you know what, it's just over, you know, like it's just not that simple in the NFL. If it were, more teams would do it. And this is one of the reasons why the Bears never make this change until this season. It needed to be done. Like, trust me, it needed to be done. They needed to fire the coach. But the thing is, and I still think there's a lot of talented players on this team, but now there's no hope for the playoffs. So now it's just trying to get guys developed and trying to find some roles for some of these younger players. Now, Roma Dunze went out there and played really well, pair of touchdowns, and perhaps this is his breakout game. And maybe down the stretch, there's more of a concerted effort to get him the football. Selfishly, I would like to see Tyler Scott on the field a little bit more. Like, hey, Keenan's a great player. Keenan needs to start thinking about himself. And I don't mean this in a bad way, and I don't even hold this against him. And I would even welcome him back to the Chicago Bears. I'm open to it. But at the same time, Keenan, who has battled injuries throughout his career, he needs to think about this as well and be like, you know what? Maybe I don't put myself out there in harm's way and really, you know, unfortunately, you know, you don't want to, you're going to be a free agent and you want to make sure you're going out there and getting that money. Tevin Jenkins, maybe the same thing, like all these pending free agents. Terrell Edmonds, pending free agent. He's got to be, keeps playing the way that he did. Yeah, so there's a lot of things, and hopefully we get an opportunity to see some of the younger players, and it's unfortunate. Certainly not the way that I thought that this year was going to go. I really didn't think that we would go into this season being like, well, we're just trying to see who's getting better and ramp up for the coach next year, because we could have cut to the chase. We could have done that a year ahead. And again, the coaching situation is what it is. I'm not going to go over and try to tread over this ground because we talked about it over the weekend about Ben Johnson and everything like that. I will tell everybody that regardless of what happens the rest of the way, regardless of what happens with this team, if they go out there and they get embarrassed in San Francisco again, on the road on Monday night, thank God we're going to be in prime time on Monday night. Goodness gracious, we're going to be there on Monday Night Football. But the thing of it is, regardless of what happens the rest of the way, this Bears team, this Bears coaching job is still one of the most coveted, sought-after positions, regardless of what Ben Johnson says. Ben Johnson is just sending a message, which is fine. Like, you're still a coordinator. People want to coach the Chicago Bears. They're looking at Caleb Williams, and they're seeing how well he's playing, and they're like, this is an organization that I think that I can rescue. Because listen, there's a reason why whenever you see like Hollywood starlets who are extremely attractive, like how do they keep finding, like why Kim Kardashian keeps finding men? Because there are guys out there who are like, I can make that work. You know what I'm saying? There's attractive guys. Johnny Depp will always have, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll always find people. Why is Johnny Depp my go-to? But there are people who could be like, oh, I can fix that. Like there's coaches who are like, I'll fix the Chicago Bears. I'll make this work and I'm going to get Caleb Williams. So don't feel like any of these, like this is still an attractive job. This is still a place that people will want to be and will want to coach. It's just unfortunate that we're going to have to sit here over the next couple of months and sit here and worry about it. Maybe go out there and have some fun playing some parlays. And speaking of which, the world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is right here in Illinois. The Circus Sports app is sports betting the way it should be. Experience high betting limits, better money line splits, the best in-game gaming, and of course, the best customer service anywhere. Yeah, that's right. Your bookie is here right now. The Circus Sports app. Go to circusports.com, or better yet, download the app and get started today. And as a quick note, if you or anybody you know has a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or better yet, text ILGAMB to 833-234. And again, still enjoy this season. Enjoy what's going to happen the rest of the way. Maybe go out there and buy some sports trading cards. That's right, because at Windy City Sports Cards, they specialize in all things Chicago sports. Whether you're a fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, or Sky, Windy City Sports Cards has you covered with a wide variety of options. So, and even if you're not a Chicago sports fan, you want to go out there and go find a rare Ken Griffey Jr. card, Windy City Sports Cards has you covered. Our friends at Windy City Sports Cards, making dreams happen. And by the way, it's the holiday season. Where else? Oh, you're trying to think, like, what can I get somebody? Like, I want to get somebody like something cool, signed helmet, whatever. Go to Windy City Sports Cards. All right, thanks to everybody for being here. Thanks for enduring this. Sorry that I'm not more pissed. This is why I waited till the day after, so I wouldn't be quite as angry. But listen, we'll be back. I will be on, depending on when you watch this, CHGO. We'll do a Take It to the Rank. All that stuff's still going to happen. We'll dive deeper into the coaching search. We'll talk a little bit more about Roma Dunze and his breakout game and what that could mean going forward. That's all this week on the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. Thank you so much for being here. And Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by Circus Sports Illinois.